neighborhood problems. So does anybody else have any questions, concerns? Mr. Dempsey.
Hi, I'm Bob Dempsey. I live on Worcester Street, and we've got an abandoned house down there that I think last fall or late last summer, they put a blue tarp on the whole complete roof. The windows are all boarded up, and I noticed the other day going by that the back door, and I don't know what else is laying out in the yard. I understand this might be owned by a bank right now or something to that effect, but I didn't realize that you could put a complete roof on as a blue tarp. And it's there, it's very obvious. And the downstairs windows are all boarded up. I think something ought to be followed up on that. A couple other things that just bear up just a little bit. The last big rainstorm we had, I don't know whether anybody went down Middle Avenue or not, but believe me, the road at 13th Street, the water was clear across the road. I mean, it was nasty. Every time it rains, that's a problem. However, in looking at it, if somebody, whether the resident or who, would just get out there and clean that storm sewer. It was packed so full of leaves, grass stuff, twigs, whatever, water couldn't get down. I think, I know somebody reported the police department, they sent city workers out there, and I bet they didn't do anything more than just clean the drain, but it alleviated the problem, took care of it. I mean, that water was pretty deep going through there at one time. And one other minor thing, why are we starting leaf pickup in September? Are we? I mean, do we know that? Last year, the leaf truck went down our street, and there wasn't a leaf out there, believe me. The next time they came by, we had a foot of snow. Now, how are they going to pick that up then? Nothing in between times. So I think, I've been around a lot of years, and like a lot of people in here, we've been around a long time. We know that our seasons are all changing. Day by day, month by month. What used to be a miserable winter starting in November, now is December. We know these seasons are changing. Why can't we change our leaf pickup? Same. Thank you.
Mr. Dickerson, you want to make any comments on that? Or do you want to pass the mic to the mayor here? Okay. Okay.
I'm a big guy to take it.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Dempsey, we get calls beginning of September. And so we try to get one truck out that does the whole city. Sometimes appearance also helps. So that's basically what we're doing. There are piles out there when we start. As the time goes by, then progressively it gets worse. So that's why we start. We don't always start in September. Actually, we started end of September, early October.
The leaves aren't even down yet.
Oh, they were. Yeah, there was piles out there. We run all over the city, so they're out there. So and believe me, I get the calls. So and then after at the end of December, then we're basically done.
Right.
But in between there, our trucks, the same trucks that does the snow removal, also are pulling the trailers. So we have to disconnect trailers and everything else. So it's back and forth all season. It's really heavy. But
how many trucks do you need?
we used to have one time 10 trucks. Every year we're losing a truck. We're down to probably about 7 trucks now. So, and there's no money. I mean, we're doing the best we can with what we have. So, and we're also losing people. In my department, we only have 13 people. That's kind of myself and my assistant. My assistant, 13 people for a city of 57,000. So we're doing a pretty good job, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
On that point, normally this is a fall discussion, but we constantly survey what other cities are doing. We are extremely rare of a city that picks it up at curbside from people that just rake it to the curb line. Most communities require residents to bag their leaves. So you would think that there'd always be a better way. And we've kicked around so many things from like a hay baling type of device to bale them and leave bales of leaves that another crew would come by and pick up, to some sort of flash burning of the leaves in a vehicle. I mean, we've kicked around so many different things, and we find out more and more that communities just require people to bag their own leaves and to pick them up in that fashion. So we look for more ways. I think we're going to try to do some of brush. I might add, no one brought up brush, but that will come up here soon. With our sanitation vehicles, our packer garbage trucks, they're in extreme poor state of repair, and the ones we reserve for picking up brush is the worst vehicle or two that we have, and it breaks down, you know, quite frequently. So our brush pickup is very sporadic, and it doesn't meet anyone's expectation. With the new sanitation rate structure that goes into effect in the next couple of weeks, you know, it's our plan to have 2 brush crews that will use those chipper devices where they run the brush through the chipper and it makes it into basically sawdust. So we're going to have 2 crews sometime starting this year that'll be the bulk of their routine during the week, is going through the city. So we expect our brush program as the year progresses and certainly by a year from now, to be in full swing and, you know, a much better program. You know, I might touch on this also. The utility rates, we addressed our utility rates here this past winter. It was led largely by the federal government. The United States EPA came down on the city back in the very early 1980s and essentially forced about $60 million worth of improvement, mostly to our sewage treatment facility, but also a couple of big interceptor sewers. And we entered into what's called a consent decree. It's basically you know, terms of a lawsuit, federal government against the city. Elyria was one of the first cities made an example of, quite frankly. A lot of cities have been catching up to us over the years, but we've had to file reports every quarter with the federal government, US EPA, on our progress toward cleaning up our discharge to the river, and they finally have said enough is enough. You've got to dramatically accelerate your program. So we submitted this past December 1st a game plan over the next 20 years to even further improve our waste treatment facility as well as our sewer system, and we raised the rates accordingly for over a 20-year period to address this more fully over the next 20 years. It still has not been approved by the federal government. We're hoping they will approve that. They could very well come back to us and say 20 years isn't soon enough, you need to do it in as early as 10 years, in which case the rates won't be enough. We felt the urgency of passing that rate so that we could not only let the government know that this is our plan, we believe it's acceptable, but we've adjusted our rates to be able to actually do it. So we have high confidence that that will be acceptable. We approached our water system similarly. That came out of the 2015 planning process, where it was recognized that our water volume, we addressed the water pressure with water towers that were built, one on the southeast corner of the city, another one on the west side, that pretty well took care of water pressure. That's what you recognize when you turn the water on, how fast the water comes out. That's in pretty good order throughout the city. What's still lacking is water volume, the amount of water that comes out that is largely realized when it comes time to fight a fire. And in fact, the south side has a lot of deficiencies in that regard. So we started last year or so that lining program. You've noticed that, some of you. We're going to do more of that, but we're also going to work on replacing many of the old water lines. The south side has a great deal of that. There's sporadic spaces in other places of the city, but that's going to address water volume. So that's going to be taking place here over the next probably 10 or 15 years. We hope to have one or several projects going at all times. So that will be going on. And then the last piece about this, as far as our rates are concerned, is our sanitation department. We're very likely, and it has to go through council, we were given a bit of a reprieve. We thought we were going to have to make the decision by this time already, but we have until probably late summer. But the industry in sanitation is going toward those carts, the wheeled carts you wheel to the curb lawn, that an automatic truck picks it up with an arm, one person, etc. We are very likely to go down that path. Council will ultimately make that decision. The idea is to clean up, the aesthetics of the street. It's less expensive because of the lesser personnel. So when we go about that and make the final decision to go forward with that, we'll have meetings like this, and probably throughout the city, probably in appropriate, or churches where they're willing to have us, and school buildings, etc. And we'll have those carts actually out for you to take a look at and see what they're like. And we probably will implement that at the end of this year. So look for that and discussions about that as the summer progresses.
Okay. Before we get off topic here, if anybody sees a catch basin full of leaves, contact me, or
take a rake. You can take a rake and rake it off.
You can clean it yourself.
You can do that,
but you know what I mean. But
contact the mayor's office.
What department is it?
It'd be wastewater.
Wastewater. If you contact wastewater, they will clean out the catch basins.